Did someone find Tommy? Oh, good. There you are. Okay. All right, good. Well, good morning and welcome to the May 13th, 2025 Hempstead Town Board meeting. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Yes, Supervisor Clavin.
I'm here.
Councilman Dunn.
Here.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Here.
Councilwoman Miller.
Here.
Councilman Muscarella. Councilwoman Ryder.
Present.
Councilman Schneider.
Here. Okay, is Caitlin Schneider here? Caitlin, could you come forward and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance for the Town Board? Would you mind doing that, young lady? Come right up here, right in the front. You run the show. Go for it.
Here. Oh.
Allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much.
Good job.
Before we begin our first public hearing, I know that Councilman Schneider wanted to address the board and the crowd.
Yes, thank you very much, Supervisor. Just want to extend a very special welcome. We have members of the Seaford Manor School Student Council here with us today, with their advisors, Ms. Nelson and Ms. Perrone. So these are all 4th and 5th grade students who are elected by their peers to serve their school. And in addition to serving the school, they've engaged in a number of different service projects. They've been engaged with food drives for Island Harvests, toy drives for the John Thiessen Children's Foundation. They volunteered at a Seaford Wellness Council hot chocolate run, and they've also participated in the town of Hempstead's Cards for Cops, which they've brought with them here today. So just want to extend a very special welcome to you guys, tell you how proud we are of what you're doing and how grateful we are that you serve your school and your community. And I would be remiss and in trouble at home if I didn't extend a special welcome to Caitlin Schneider, who makes her father very proud and thankfully takes after her mother. So great to be with you.
Why don't our students stand up to get the recognition they deserve? Let's see you stand up, students. Come on. Come on, stand up. There you go. And what about your teachers? Your teachers deserve recognition too. There you go. I like that. That was good. I think, Councilman, if you want to go receive the cards from the students, I think that would be wonderful.
It's Cards for Cops. Would you explain what it is?
Yep, come bring them front. Who's got the cards? Who'd you give them to? They're upstairs? No. All right, Chris, pretend like you got the cards. There you go. All right, let's hear it for our students again. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Okay. All right. Madam Clerk, would you please call the first public hearing?
Yes, Supervisor Clavin, on the public hearings calendar, we have a proposed local law regarding regulations and restrictions to limit parking in Oceanside.
Okay, and member of the board wish to be heard? Okay, do you have any slips on this? Anybody in the public wish to be heard did not sign in? If not, may I please have a motion?
Mr. Supervisor, I move that the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second the motion.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
Aye.
Okay. I don't know if you want the kids to stay or not. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
All right, we have a proposed local law regarding parking or standing prohibitions in Elmont, Franklin Square, Merrick, Roosevelt, and near Westbury.
Any member of the board wish to be heard? Okay, don't have any slips. Anybody wish to be heard did not sign in? If not, may I please have a motion?
Mr. Supervisor, I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
And Councilman Schneider.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
Yes, we have a proposed local law regarding arterial stops. If I might say to the boys and girls from Seaford Manor, the arterial stops, those are the stop signs we were talking about in the other room. These are the laws that will be associated with those new stop signs. So we have a proposed local law regarding the arterial stops in East Meadow, near Malvern, North Belmore, Roosevelt, South Valley Stream, and West Hempstead.
Okay, any member of the board wish to be heard? I don't have any slips. Anybody from the public not signed in wishes to be heard in this? Great, if may I please have your name and address?
Meta Mariday, Baldwin resident. With regard to the location in Roosevelt, where exactly would that be? And how are these arterial stop locations actually determined? It seems like there's kind of one or two per meeting. Is there a way that it can just all be done as far as some kind of survey? Just a question.
Morning Supervisor. Good morning Deputy Supervisor. Tom Reed representing Traffic Control Division. The stop signs in Roosevelt is for Stevens Street at Gormley Avenue, which we will be making that location a four-way stop.
So you're making that a four-way stop based on what?
Accident history and a survey of the area, and in order just to enhance the location.
Okay. And to the other part of my question, how are these determined? Is it based upon increase in accidents or requests from residents? Because we have residents that have some issues with regard to lighting problems, which could also increase the number of accidents. So I'm just wondering how the town surveys and determines where to put these stop signs along with improving the lighting as well.
Yes, well, the resident can write in a letter to our office or contact the town board for us to do a survey. Then we obtain the accident history records. We go back 10 years from the Nassau County Police Department. My inspectors go out to look at the area, see the conditions of the signs, make sure that they're properly posted to begin with as per state law. Sometimes the signs may have not have been installed correctly to begin with, so we have to be in compliance with state law and update the location, add additional stop signs, or in this case, accident patterns change over the years, so we may decide to use our engineering judgment and add additional stop signs in order to promote public safety and traffic safety at our location.
Okay. But there's nothing proactive that's being done with regard to the signage as well as I said, the lighting issue that many residents have a concern about. Because I was wondering, a lot of the mailings that go out, it'd be nice if in some of those mailings that we had a way that residents could share what actual issues that they're having. Since we're already paying for the 4-color mailing anyway, it'd be nice if there was some notification. If, just like you have commercials that say if you have a problem or if you know of a situation. So just asking.
Well, every location is different, so we do everything on a case-by-case basis, and we review each location that we do get a written request or a notification to look at something. If there's no request for a location, we leave it alone. But some areas are, worse than others, so everything depends on the location and the situation and the conditions of the area.
Okay, great. Thank you for the information.
And thanks for the idea of that mailing. I'll tell our communications department. I'm glad you read them. May I now have a motion on this?
And they do a great job for me because
Okay.
they come as soon as, they hear about it, they come and take care of it.
Great, awesome.
Mr. Supervisor, I move that the public hearing be closed and the board adopt this item.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby. Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
Aye. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
Yes, we have a proposed local law regarding school speed limits near Valley Stream.
Okay, a member of the board wish to be heard? I don't have any slips this item. Anybody wish to be heard did not sign in? If not, may I please have a motion?
I propose that the board adopt the item.
Second?
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
Aye. All right, Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed handicap parking on public streets in Baldwin, Elmont, Oceanside, and Uniondale.
All right, member of the board wish to be heard? I do not have any slips to this item. May anybody wish to be heard on this item? Please, if you can name and address for the record. Thank you.
This me to J. Meriday, Baldwin resident, and I'm so sorry, Supervisor, I didn't hear your comment after I sat down, so if you care to repeat it or just write it down. Generally, I like to look people in the eye if they're going to make a statement. With regard to the handicap parking, the locations for Baldwin as well as Uniondale, and I'm pretty clear with regard to how this process goes about, but I'm always concerned again with regard to, and no fault of the town, but the enforcement for these types of rules and regulations, because a lot of people are very disrespectful of handicap parking signage and think they can get away with being in those locations where we need to have residents who have physical challenges to be able to use that, particularly if it's in front of their home. So I'm just curious as to what are the Baldwin and Uniondale locations for these signs.
Okay, Tom Reed representing traffic control again. The location in Uniondale is Clarendon Road, and the one in Baldwin is on Harvard Place. The one in Baldwin, we are repealing the restriction as the homeowner no longer requires the handicap parking space. And all the other locations that are listed, we are adopting new restrictions for the homeowners who have written into the town to ask for a parking space in front of their home. They have to submit a copy of their handicap parking permit. We go and investigate the site. We designate a 20-foot parking space for them, and then we verify the handicap parking permit with the Nassau County Office of Physically Challenged to make sure that that person lives at that house. And then we have the town board adopt the ordinances for us, and then we issue the signs for the residents. And then if the resident needs enforcement, as long as they have that visor hanging in the car, we tell the residents, anybody on the block with the handicap parking permit can utilize their spot, even if it's in front of somebody else's house. So that becomes an issue that the police would have to, do a judgment call on who gets a ticket, who doesn't get a ticket. But anybody with a permit can use the parking space.
Okay, and just curious, is there any type of announcements that's sent out to residents that they may be aware that they could utilize this service and how they can go about it?
Right. Well, if somebody does write into us and we do conduct a survey, we tell them right off the bat that anybody with a parking permit can use the space, even though it's directly in front of your house. It's implied that the space is for that homeowner, but there have been cases in the past where other neighbors have used the parking space until that person decides, okay, I want to get my own space. And then they have to go through the process of like what their neighbor did. They have to send us a letter, and then we conduct an individual survey for that person. So you kind of like stop the neighborhood feud.
Right, okay. And when you submit the new parking permits, do you send, the requisitions, do you send the police department a list of the new locations that have handicap parking? Just in case if they're on patrol, for example, and they should happen to be on that street and they see a car that does not have either the plate or
Well,
the sign
our
in it.
parking signs for the handicap parking have the TOH logos on them, which stands for Town of Hempstead.
Right.
And then the resident has the permit, which has a validation of an expiration date and whatever. As long as the permit is valid, they can park there. And then if it's an expired permit, then the police have a right to give a ticket. But everybody is told, the residents are told that you have to display the permit at all times in the space. So the police know if they see it, then the police should legally leave the car alone. Even if a neighbor may have taken the spot, and like I said, as long as the person has a legal permit to park in the space, it's going to be a judgment call by the police.
Okay, all right, great, thank you.
Anybody else wish to be heard? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the motion.
You get a second?
Second, who second?
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn. Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
Aye. Madam Clerk, please.
You know, one thing I'd like to say is thank you so much for giving that information, but I'd never have problems with them. Whenever there's something wrong, as far as, what they need, he takes care of it.
Don
So
does an
I'm very
excellent
happy
job. Yeah,
about
Don
that.
does
You
a
did
great
an
job.
excellent job. Thank you so much.
Nice of you to say. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
Yes, we have a resolution on CEQA review, proposed adoption of a negative declaration and determination of non-significance in connection with the construction of a new treatment facility to house advanced oxidation process treatment and iron removal equipment, and a water main replacement along Prospect Avenue by the East Meadow Water District.
Okay, a member of the board wish to be heard on this? I don't have any slips on this. Anybody in the public wish to be heard on this? If not, may I please have a motion?
Mr. Supervisor, I move that the public hearing be closed and the board adopt this item.
A second?
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby. Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Yes.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
Aye. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed increase and improvement of the East Meadow Water District.
All right. Any member of the board wish to be heard on this? All right. Do you have any slips in this? Any member of the public wish to be heard did not sign in? Sure. If you want to give your name and address for the record, that'd be great.
What happened? Me to J. Merriday, I'll address my 7, 8, and 9, so I don't have to keep standing up.
Yeah, I can't understand you. I'm sorry. What?
I will address 7, 8, and 9, so I don't have to keep standing up, because it'll pretty much be the same discussion for me. Just wanted to get some clarity with regard to what is this proposal. We definitely need to have all of our water systems improved with the increase of the PFOAs, et cetera, and other toxins. And again, living in Baldwin where we have to deal with the sinkholes. So just to get some insights as to how this is going to benefit all the residents. All the water districts should be listed here to have improvements.
Fish, if you want to address that, thank you.
Good morning, Commissioner Reinhardt, Department of Water. So item number 7 is regarding the East Meadow Water District, 2 projects that we have planned. One is a replacement of a little over a quarter of a mile of water main on Prospect Avenue, an area where we've had high incidences of water main breaks. And the other item is the installation of an advanced oxidation process treatment and iron removal at one of our wells in East Meadow. To address your concern, over the past 4 years, the town board has committed over $250 million to removing those chemicals from our water.
That impact all residents?
In our districts, yes.
Okay, because the Newsday report was still saying that they're still relatively high dangerous rates, and because we're also impacted by the Grumman plume on the South Shore, residents have some concerns, particularly in that Uniondale, Garden City, Roosevelt, Baldwin location. So kind of see these water districts once again getting attention, and you know, those of us that live downstream from it, it becomes a challenge after a while. So
I can't speak for what those water districts are doing, but like I said, our districts and this town board is committed to addressing those problems. Going back to 2015, we were addressing the Grumman plume.
right. So is there a way to get any type of progress report, since you're saying you've been working on getting it addressed since 2015? What is the progress, if any? If that needs to be reported to
Do you have a question regarding, he's giving you an answer regarding these projects. If you'd like a status report or something like that, perhaps you can, set up an appointment to go see the commissioner personally. He can go over it with you.
Perhaps I can, sir, when I'm not addressing veterans being put out of their home or widows having their monies clawed back because the current administration could care less about people who have a diverse or equitable or inclusive mindset. So if I can squeeze that in during those occasions, I definitely will. But I feel that this is a public setting and that residents who are concerned, who have to work 2 and 3 jobs, and also may not be able to have their child care because the county refuses to do that as well. I'm so sorry that I have to bring it to your attention in this particular forum. But, my constitution that I still follow, even though other elected officials do not, do give me the right of freedom of speech and freedom of assembly. And I'm saying it within my 3 minutes. So I do thank you, Commissioner, for your information. Maybe we can get together so I can discuss this in private, since our elected officials do not want the dirty linen or the dirty water exposed to the public. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else wish to be heard? If not, may I please have a motion?
Mr. Supervisor, I move that the public hearing be closed and the board adopt this item.
Get a second?
Second the motion.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller. Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder. Councilman Schneider.
Aye. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed increase and improvement of the Levittown Water District.
Okay, any member of the board wish to be heard? I do not have any slips. Anybody wish to be heard in this? Okay, you want to give your name and address?
Peter J. Meriday, third generation, now living in Baldwin. Just need an idea what these projects are for Levittown.
Is this the one you
Another
just a minute ago
designated
said 7, 8,
community.
and 9 deal with? This is number 8, correct?
Number 8,
Madam,
yes.
Madam Clerk? This is number 8, Madam Clerk?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. All right, Commissioner?
Good morning again. Item number 8 is in the Levittown Water District. This is strictly a building improvement project to improve the structure that houses a pump and treatment system in Levittown District on Water Lane South.
You called it a pump and what?
It's a standard well house. It does pump and water treatment.
Oh, okay. Pump and water treatment.
It's
Okay.
just to protect the investments we've made in the past by improving the building structure itself.
Okay. And when you do the contracting out for these services, who are you using? What companies are you using?
They're all publicly bid.
Publicly bid? Okay. So do you have an idea maybe if one of them might be service disabled, veteran owned, woman owned, just kind of an afterthought maybe?
Those requirements are placed in every one of our bids.
Okay, so you can't ever share that, right? I mean, you can't say that they're, if we talk about, we're trying to focus on making opportunities available for our veterans and service disabled veterans and women, we can never say that could be like an account.
Actually, he just said that they follow the rules and requirements of New York State with the bidding. Actually did just say that, just so you know.
And somehow it
Supervisor,
just
if I-
keeps getting this echo.
Commissioner, want to add something else?
I
Yes,
keep
over
getting
the-
an echo
over
in
the
the
past-
room, but I'm listening to you, Commissioner. So, and I can hear perfectly what you're saying. I'm just asking the question with regard to that. So you're following the rules and regulations. Okay, I will give you that. But again, with the number of investigations that keep happening with regard to the contracting within the town and the county, I would gather that someone that might have an interest because they keep seeing our money going to, let's say, patronage or cronyism, we might want to question who is actually getting these resources. I know, is the town attorney going to say once
Yeah,
again?
most respectfully, I've been here almost 3 years. There's never been any investigations into any of our bid process. We follow the bid processes pursuant to the law.
Okay,
State law and your accusations that there have been some investigations. If you know something that I don't know, I would ask you to come up and see me after the meeting, because none of that's occurred in the last 3 years.
I said in general, but yeah, we can have that conversation.
There's no general
as well.
in the
I'm
town of
just
Hempstead
asking.
when you make
Oh,
those
really?
accusations.
Okay, right, all right. As I said, I'm just asking a question about if there is utilization of service disabled and veteran owned businesses. I don't really think that that is a question that should receive such derision with regard to my statement.
I don't think anybody did do that. I think they answered your question. Is in compliance with the law.
All of our recent water improvement contracts that have been state funded have a requirement for SDVOB as well as MWBE that have been met by our contractors.
And for this
to-
particular contract,
To the
what's,
tune of tens of millions of dollars.
right, what's the value of this contract?
This one is $500,000.
$500,000. And what's the term on the contract?
It hasn't been designed yet. This is funding a future project.
Okay, so this is just a.
When it's awarded, that'll come back before this board and you can comment on it at that point.
So
that's why it
this
says
particular
proposed?
project is not
proposed,
necessary,
yes.
it's not something that's of urgency, is what I'm guessing.
I consider every project in the water department to be urgent.
Okay, but you just said it's for a future project.
We come here to the board for funding. Once we get the funding, we design the projects and bid them. That's the process.
5K, 11K. Okay. Thank you. I can tell people are not used to having questions because they just like to do things on their own. We suffer the consequences. I thank you so much.
Okay, anybody else wish to be heard? If not, may I please have a motion?
Mr. Supervisor, I move that the public hearing be closed and the board adopt this item.
Got a second on that? Yep.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby. Councilwoman Miller,
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella,
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder,
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
All right, Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
Yes, we have a proposed increase and improvement of the Roosevelt Field Water District.
Okay, any member of the board wish to be heard? Okay, do not have any slips if anybody wishes to be heard on this. Apparently nobody has to sign in, but if you give your name and address for the record, that'd be great.
Nita J. Maraday. Again, the value, the type of project, the value of this project in Roosevelt Field Water District. What exactly is the Roosevelt Field Water District geographically?
Roosevelt Field Water District generally is bounded by the Garden City Village line to the west, Old Country Road to the north, Stewart Avenue to the south, and Merrick Avenue to the east.
Okay, wouldn't that be considered, that's not considered Uniondale?
When it was created in 1963, it was created as the Roosevelt Field Water District. It was part of the old Roosevelt Field Airfield.
I see. Okay, and what's the actual?
Uniondale Water District was created back in 1933. It's a completely different district.
Right, but I believe that there are still some issues with regard to the mapping that still claims what's listed as East Garden City is actually Uniondale?
I didn't call it East Garden City. It's the Roosevelt Field Water District.
Okay.
And that's the legal name of this district.
Got you. Okay, what type of project is going on here?
As two projects included in this bond item. The first is the repainting of the water tower at Dibley Drive, which is across from Lowe's, if you're familiar with the area. And the second project is the extension of a pack tower aerator at Well 10, which is on Stewart Avenue across from Traeger.
Okay, and does this particular water tower have the same type of issues as the other water tower?
What does that mean?
With leakage and things of that nature, just repainting. There's nothing internal, structural to this tower that needs to be redone.
No, it's a much newer tower than the...
Much newer tower. Okay, well, yeah, I guess those communities would get much newer towers and everybody else gets what's left.
I can't understand the mumbling. What?
Much newer towers. I'm sorry, I said yes, it would stand to reason that they would get much newer towers, and unfortunately, the many underserved communities would still have the same rusted ones that add additional toxins to the ones that we're already suffering, particularly on the South Shore. Is this, again, another project? So it's a lot of bonding in this particular agenda. You know, that's a whole lot of borrowing of money for the amount of
You can't put a price on clean water.
budget that we have. Well, clearly we can't because we're
Obviously
paying
you
a lot.
can.
We're
We don't
paying
hear
a high
the
price,
finance.
and we still don't have clean water. If you want to make commentary, I can respond to all of that too. So I'm all in for having our water systems improved so that our quality of water for our residents. But I still have a problem when it seems like there are still selective locations. No offense to you, Commissioner. But there are select locations while others continue to suffer, but we also pay the same. So we're sharing the load, but we're not receiving the benefits of the load that we're all putting out there.
As far as capital improvements are concerned, they're shared by the individual district in which they're made. And these projects are to address water quality concerns. If you're talking about other communities over the past, as I said, 4 years, this board has committed almost $250 million to addressing those problems in all of our districts.
And again, like I said, I will squeeze out some time to meet with you so that there can be an overall reporting so that residents, many of whom are still getting brown water or water that has not a nice, so clean and pretty smell, can be reassured that their tax dollars are actually going to where they need to be going, because not many feel that way. So.
Okay, I spoke at the Uniondale community meeting with you back in December, and I addressed these issues in the Uniondale community, but we can go over them where we stand now.
Yes, you did. And as you know, for those who don't show up for various community meetings, as you know, residents have a lot of concerns. Am I right?
And I believe I addressed all of their concerns
you
at that
believe
time.
you did, but like I said, residents still have a lot of concerns, and this is the opportunity for these concerns to be brought to the public so that they can be addressed, so it doesn't become yet another story in Newsday with money going literally and figuratively down the drain. Thank you.
I don't consider any of the projects that we do putting money down the drain. I consider water improvement projects important.
Commissioner, thank you very much for coming up. And Commissioner, just hang out. I have a feeling we're going to hear this over. And I do want to say thank you for the history lesson on the 1963 labeling of that district. You know what? We all learn something new every single day. So thank you very much, Commissioner. Well done on that. Madam Clerk, would you please call the next item? Oh, I'm sorry. Can I have a motion on that?
Yep.
I second the motion.
Supervisor Clavin.
Here.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We adopted it. First and second one. We did a second, let's do that vote again.
Okay, that's
We
fine.
did a second, but no one moved it.
Okay.
We didn't hear.
So we'll just do it again.
All right.
Okay.
Council-
So let's do it. Make a motion on this. Anybody make a motion?
Yeah, I move.
Okay, get a second?
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
All right.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella. Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
Yes, we have the proposed increase and improvement of the refuse disposal district.
Okay, any member of the board wish to be heard? Okay, I don't have any slips on this item. Anybody wish to be heard, did not sign in? If not, may I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board consider the item.
I second that item.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby. Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed increase and improvement of the Merrick Fire Protection District.
Okay, any slips on this? Any member of the board wish to be heard? No slips. Anybody wish to be heard, didn't sign in on this? If not, may I please have a motion? Pretty please?
Move the public hearing be closed and the board consider the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
We have a proposed increase and improvement of the Franklin Square Park District.
All right. Any member of the board wish to be heard on this? I don't have any slips. Anybody in the public wish to be heard and sign in on this? Great, if you give your name and address for the record, thanks.
Mita J. Maraday. Type of project, budget, rationale. And my clock is just a ticking, so I guess I'll keep on talking until somebody comes up to answer.
Can't understand a word you're saying.
I said the clock keeps a ticking, so I'll keep on talking till somebody walks up to answer.
Ms. Maraday, please be respectful. I know the commissioner was walking up. You speak at
I
every one
get
of the
that.
meetings. Ms. Maraday, you speak at every one of the meetings. Everyone comes up and provides answers.
Councilman
We just ask you to
asked
be a little more
question, said he
respectful.
could not hear.
And with
I'm
that,
sorry.
Deputy Commissioner
Councilman
Megan, if you would
asked me a
please go.
question. I give him an
Hold on,
answer.
hold on.
Kyle Megan, Deputy Commissioner, Parks and Recreation. Good morning, Supervisor, Deputy Supervisor, members of the board. The Franklin Square Park District proposed improvements was $200,000 for demo and reinstallation of a new equipment and recreation equipment barn in Rath Park.
In Grant Park?
Rath Park in Franklin Square.
Okay. So this has nothing to do with improvements with regard to safety issues from previous issues of incidents at these parks?
No, nothing to do with safety issues, just the equipment barn has reached its life and we're looking to demo it and install a new barn.
Okay. And as was shared earlier, you're following all the state and, well, I don't know why we say federal, because the federal is cutting all the regulations, but you're following all the regulations with regard to some type of inclusive, diverse, and equitable, yes, I did say DEI in a public format, to make sure that all residents may have a chance to be involved in this particular contract?
Yes, this will be competitively bid and it'll follow state and local purchasing guidelines.
Okay. Thank you so very much. I just want to make sure that I'm loud and clear so that if anybody else asks a question or makes a statement that they can't hear, I don't want to be disrespectful.
Any
and
other
say
questions
below
on
the
this matter?
voice. Yeah, I'm just also curious again about whether there is some type of scenario down the road to improve the parks from a safety standpoint, with regard to the recent incidents that have happened
That
in
has,
town
question
park.
has nothing to do with, he told you what this is, the
You
upgrade. Are there
asked
any
me
other
if I had
questions on
another
this?
question, and that was my other question, sir. So
Obviously,
if
it's not on topic.
not related, then I wouldn't know until I asked the question as to what was related to the park district. That's why I stood up to ask the question, and I feel I can still speak within the minute that I have, because you can talk, you can insult, you can say whatever you want, doing as much allotted time as you choose, but I'm delegated and relegated to like 3 minutes to be basically how I feel disrespected by you. So I have finished what I had to say with regard to this. I thank the commissioner profusely for the information that he has given to me and to the public, and I will now take my seat. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else have anything else to say? Okay, if not, may I please have a motion?
Mr. Supervisor, I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second the motion.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
Proposed increase and improvement of the Point Lookout Park District.
Okay, any member of the board wish to be heard in this? I do not have any slips, or anybody who knew to sign up to sign in. Anybody else wish to be heard? Great, if you give your name and address for the record, thank you.
Nita J. Maraday. Same questions.
What's that question?
Type of question is as it relates to the project, what type of project, what's the budget for the project, starting dates, things of that nature. Anything that you can share, sir, that relates to this particular project and the impact on that district would be most appreciated by me. Just want to make sure that we're clear, fully invested in what I need to know with regard to this particular project so I can address everybody's concerns up front. I pause.
Deputy Commissioner?
Good morning again, Supervisor, Deputy Supervisor, members of the board, Kyle Megan, Deputy Commissioner, Parks and Recreation. This project specifically for the Point Lookout Park District, estimated budget of $50,000 for a new septic tank at the Point Lookout Civic Beach.
Is this a replacement of a septic tank? How old was that tank? Was there some leakage? What brought this about?
There was a crack in the hull about 4 years ago. It was repaired. It's since cracked again. At this juncture, it's no longer functional and requires a full replacement.
Okay, has there been any seepage that has impacted residents in that area?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Can you
Has
repeat
there
that?
been any seepage that has impacted the residents in that area?
No. It's in a self-contained concrete block, so there hasn't been any seepage. We also haven't been using those bathrooms. We've been renting bathrooms, so it's not currently in function. When we replace it, the bathrooms will be back online.
Okay. So they haven't used those bathrooms in 4 years?
No, not in the off-season. It was up until this season where it really became fully non-functional.
Oh, okay. So we're getting into the season. So this is going to be finished in time for residents to be able to use that park for the season, or?
There may be some overlap. We're renting bathrooms currently, but we're trying to get it done as expeditiously as possible.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, he wants to be
If
heard.
not, may I please have a motion?
Wait, I think he does.
Anybody else?
Does
Okay.
he want to be heard?
No. All right.
Are you sure?
Yeah, how's it?
Move the public hearing be closed and the board consider the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby. Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
Yes, we have a proposed increase and improvement of the Town of Hempstead Park District.
Okay, any member of the board wish to be heard? Okay, I don't have any slips again. Anybody wish to be heard that didn't take the time to sign in?
I'm already here,
Okay.
trying to protect my back. Here we go. For the record, type of project, the amount of the project, impact on the community, urgency, things of that nature.
Kyle Megan, Deputy Commissioner, Parks and Recreation. This park district has several projects in it. Generally speaking, we're talking playground improvements, field improvements, court improvements, community room improvements, HVAC upgrades, water fountain upgrades, and pool upgrades throughout the park district.
Wow. We need that at Kosnak Park in Baldwin, which is a town park. I hope somebody heard me. We need that at Kosnak Park in Baldwin, a town park. What would be your estimated range as far as the cost for these related projects?
Total, about $4,515,000.
Okay. Is this going to be designated over time based upon the level of priority?
Yes, to some degree, but we're looking to get started immediately, presuming the board's adoption of this resolution.
So you're going to do all of these projects around the same time?
No, we're going to stagger them, but we are going to competitively bid where necessary after funding becomes available.
Okay. Is there a timeline as far as the completion for these?
It's all dependent on use. Obviously, we do field improvements when the fields aren't in use during the off-season. Same thing goes for pool improvements. Playgrounds we try to do on shoulder season so we don't interrupt use.
Right. Wow. Guess the county could use that type of philosophy since Centennial Park and Roosevelt is still largely a mud hole. But anyway, I thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay, anybody else for sure this? If not, please have a motion.
Mr. Supervisor, I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby. Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
Aye. Madam Clerk, please call the next item.
Yes, we have the application for Centerpoint Inwood LLC for a special exception pursuant to Section 196N of the Building Zone Ordinance to permit a public garage for a vehicle maintenance room at the premises located in Inwood.
Okay, I see Mr. Benesso is up at the mic. Mr. Benesso, if you give your name and address for the record, that'd be great.
Good morning, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board. William Benesso for Chelly Deegan Tirana, 333 Earl Ovington Boulevard, Uniondale. On behalf of the applicant, Centerpoint Inwood LLC, seated to my right is Mr. Andrew Fords, Director of Development for Centerpoint, here representing the company and the applicant. The application involves a parcel of property situated in Inwood. It is a warehouse facility that is being constructed. This town board granted site plan approval for the project back in 2023 under Town Board Resolution 257 of 2023 to build a 130,466 square foot warehouse. That is, as indicated, under construction. Since that time, Centerport, which owns and will be the landlord for the site, obtained a tenant in the form of FedEx. FedEx is going to use the facility as a warehouse and distribution center. And in doing so, they have requested permission to install a relatively small, compared to the building itself, a 3,800 square foot service area in the building. In order to do that, they require a special exception as a quote-unquote public garage under the zoning ordinance. As much as it's called a public garage, it will not be open to the public. It will be strictly for FedEx vehicles that are on site for service and repair of the same, and will only be utilized by the FedEx personnel. Be that as it may, being that it will be a service area with bays, it requires the special exception from the town board. The application, or rather the area, is situated in the northwest corner of the interior of the building. It is not changing the site plan in any way, shape, or form. No changes to the exterior, no changes to circulation or areas of access. And there's plenty of space to work on two vehicles inside the proposed area. The premises can adequately accommodate the uses and activities that will be present. The addition of the vehicle maintenance room will impose no undue burden or detriment on the surrounding neighborhood, and there'll be no change in the anticipated operation of the facility. It is an appropriate use. The warehouse is in a mostly industrial and commercial area situated in Inwood, and this addition will foster the ability of FedEx to provide the services that they provide. That's our direct presentation.
Any questions to the board? Mr. Vanessa, just to clarify, it's within the structure itself.
It is within the structure. It is not an addition. There's no change to the building at all. The exterior of the building, no footprint change.
And no complaints from anybody in the surrounding area?
Not that we've heard.
Okay.
Anything else you want to add?
That's it.
Okay. Any other questions of the board members? I don't have any slips on this from the public except Andrew Cords.
Oh, he's the director of
Yeah,
development.
okay.
I had him sign in case the board.
Yeah, and I saw that. And Bill, I got you signed in for the next one. All right. Anybody else wish to be heard that did not sign in this side? If not, then can I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the board adopt the item.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin. Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby. Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Vanessa. Well, it looks like you're quite busy today. I see you're ready for the next one. If Madam Clerk, please call us the next one.
We have an application for 1146 Bayport Corporation for a special exception pursuant to Section 196N of the Building Zone Ordinance to permit a public garage for a motor vehicle repair shop and accessory office at the premises located in Island Park.
Counselor, hit yourself up there, identification again.
Good morning again, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board. William Benesso for Chelly Deegan Tirana, 333 Earl Ovington Boulevard, Uniondale, New York. Here on behalf of the applicant, 1146 Bayport Corp. The applicant is the owner of premises known as 5000 Long Beach Boulevard in the unincorporated portion of Island Park in the town of Hempstead. The principal of that corporation, Mr. Joseph DeFigueroa, is here this morning and available in the event that the board has any questions. The property in question is on the northwest side of Long Beach Road, adjacent to the easterly line of the Long Island Railroad and northwesterly line of Long Beach Road. It's located between North Nassau Lane and Latimus Avenue. This site has been actually a location, according to the Nassau County property records dating back to 1949, it's been a site where auto garage activity has been taking place. Be that as it may, it never obtained a formal special exception from this board to be used as a public garage, and that is why we're here this morning. The applicant has leased the property to a tenant that operates an automotive repair and body work service. No painting, however, no paint booth is on the premises, and there's not an application for one. Be that as it may, the site is already improved. It has, in the structure, there are 4 bays, all with all with lifts. They accommodate the needs of the facility. This application will be going to the zoning board. Should this board grant the special exception, it needs a small parking variance, and then it needs a variance for a rear yard setback, and there's tandem parking on the site. That said, it's a very appropriate area for this use. Like I said, the use has been in place off and on over the years, since 1949 at least. It is a highly industrial and commercial area that is an appropriate area for a use such as this. It is already under operation, and based upon our information, there have been no concerns about the activities that take place there. During the day, they have the 4 service bays active. They have typically 5 employees present doing the work, and then there's a receptionist in the office area. Their hours are Monday through Friday from 7 to 6 p.m. and on Saturday they're there from 8 to 5, closed on Sundays. Again, it's a typical service operation of that nature in an area that is not negatively affected by it.
Ms. Vanessa, what are the abutting neighbors of that property?
They are commercial neighbors. To the north is a large area zoned Industrial Y, which is where the Edward F. Barrett Generation Station is located. There are Long Island Railroad tracks that also extend northward. To the east, there's a vacant parcel of Business X zoned property by Latimus Road and the Plantation Motel. Continuing eastward and on the northerly line of Long Beach Road, there are properties zoned industrial Y, including a bus yard, a propane business, a cremation facility, and the like. Southerly line of Long Beach Road heading east has premises zoned Business X, and there is a Residence CA District property, but that's further down the road. To the south are parcels of property zoned Business X and Industrial Y. Along on the railroad tracks extend southward from the premises, as does Sherman Road. Alongside Sherman Road are various commercial and industrial uses, including a concrete polishing facility, an auto body shop, and a dog daycare center. And to the west are the Long Beach Railroad tracks, and to the west of that is a residential area zoned Residence A, but it's on the other side of the tracks and a little bit far off.
Gotcha. Okay, all right. Anybody else you want to add for your presentation? I know we have maybe a couple of questions that count
Really?
first.
Yeah, Mr. Vanesso, good morning. Thank you for coming. As you know, Island Park is in my district, and my office has received many complaints about this area, about cars parked, double, sometimes triple parked, and it makes it very difficult for vehicles to traverse up and down the side streets. And Supervisor, I would ask that the board please reserve decision so we can have the opportunity to express my concerns to the applicant. So I would ask that we please reserve decision, and perhaps that you also can relay the complaints that I've received and the concerns that people within the Island Park community have made to my office.
First of all, we have no objection to you reserving decision. Secondly, we did become aware recently, within the last month or so, of complaints that had been registered in your office. I advised Mr. De Figueroa. He contacted the tenant and advised him, you cannot be parking out on the roadway, you cannot be blocking the roadway, and the like. I made a site visit. It's just one site visit, I understand. I made a site visit on Thursday of last week, saw none of that occurring, but I fully understand that you have your concerns and your neighbors have expressed it, so we can talk about appropriate conditions that may need to be imposed such that we avoid any kind of problems in the future.
I would appreciate that very much, and perhaps the property owner can speak to his tenant as well. And there seems to be an issue also with deliveries in that area. Perhaps are they on Sundays? I know the business is closed. Are there, or with other businesses?
On Sundays, they're closed, so
Yeah.
if there are deliveries occurring, it's not at their site.
Okay. Well, in that area, generally, it's very heavily impacted by the double and tripling parking. And like I said, we have received numerous complaints. And while I appreciate it's been over the last month or so, those discussions, perhaps you can continue that with your tenant, and my office will as well.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Ms. Vanessa, we appreciate it, and your client talking to the tenant, and I understand, and I know the councilman does, that it is a commercial area, and it's not saying that, his tenant's having delivery, but, that's just something that if we can verify that, sure, it's just something we can go back to the residents, and also address it with the other commercial tenants that are down there, that, they shouldn't be, getting criticized for something he's not doing, and I appreciate him talking to it. So, any other members of the board have any questions? Okay, just let me see. I don't have any slips. Any of the residents have any questions or anything? All right, if not, then can I please have a motion?
I make a motion, Mr. Supervisor, that we reserve decision to allow the opportunity to speak further with the applicant.
I second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby. Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, client, and we'll follow up. Perhaps you direct it with the councilwoman's office on those issues as well.
Absolutely. I'll be happy to do so.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, Madam Clerk, please call the administrative calendar.
Yes, on the administrative calendar, we have items 17 through 112. I also have one item that is of an urgent or emergency nature. It is entitled, "A Resolution Authorizing and Approving a Memorandum of Agreement with Civil Service Employees Association, Inc., Local 1000, AFSCME AFL-CIO, by and through its local 880 regarding full-time employees who separate from the town. This will be added to the administrative calendar as item 113.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Any members of the board wish to be heard on the administrative calendar? I don't have any slips from the public. Anybody wish to be heard on the administrative calendar that didn't sign in? If not, may I please have a motion? Okay, please, if you give your name and address, thank you.
Diane Madden, Hempstead. Item 33, please, and 48 and 49.
Mish? Thirty-three is not you? 33 is yours, Mike. You got the, our famous Nigerian goats, Mike. Many years ago when those babies came in here. Talk to us about them. Identify yourself too, Mike. That's okay. You're a loud guy.
Okay. Mike Caputo, Sanitation. Good morning, Miss Mann.
Good morning.
It's so the Nigerian dwarf goats. They've been at the Norman J. Levy Preserve for about 25 years. We have over a dozen in the herd, and we need veterinary services for them. It's a pretty specific need for them.
Yes.
They are, we like to call them the natural landscapers. They help with weed control, and they prevent invasive weeds. So that's what that's for. That kind
Thank you. Not associated at all then with the animal shelter.
No, this is actually a sanitation.
I didn't think so, but thank you so
No
much.
problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
And the other ones are 38 and 39, is that what you said?
48 and 49.
48 and 49. Commissioner, if you identify yourself. Thank you, Michael.
Hi, Jerry Marino, Commissioner General Services for the town of Hempstead. Resolution 48 is for a new animal control officer van. It's a little extra because you have to put air conditioning in the back and so forth for the animals.
Okay, so it's a new van you're saying
It's a
to
new van. We
replace
have to-
one
We
or?
bought one 2 years ago. We try to replenish the fleet. They get a lot of miles every year, so we slowly try and purchase one whenever we can.
Replace the other. All right, thank you. And then 49, please.
49 is a grant that the Town of Hempstead Animal Shelter applied for adding an extension to the building. The grant's for $500,000. We're hoping that things go well with it. Our portion of it is $135,000.
And could you please tell me
$150,000.
the addition, what will the purpose be for?
Multi-purpose. It's for dog and cat areas and also for medical. So we're going to use it's a larger area, so hopefully we can use it for all three.
Surgical or?
Surgical, yes.
Surgical. Okay, all right, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Mann. Anybody else wish to be heard? Ms. Meredith, if you give your name and address for the record, thank you.
Mita J. Maraday, and I did put in a slip, but somehow it never seems to get to you, but again.
You obviously know how to come up
28
to the mic, so don't worry about it, Ms. Meredith. It's always nice to have you. What questions do you have on the administrative calendar?
And you took up 10 of my seconds.
No one took your
28
time, Ms. Meredith.
28 and 32.
Hold on. Highway Department?
And on deck, I got 100 and 103. Go ahead.
Hi, Lisa Miller, Highway Department. Number 28 is awarding a new contract for the sidewalk program. It's for when we get complaints or there's alleged accidents, and we communicate with the residents, and we offer this contractor to do the work for them, and they would be responsible to pay them.
Okay, so this is determined based upon actual residents contacting you.
Yes, or we receive alleged accidents.
Okay. And is there a way that I can get kind of a report on how this is done, the locations, if you get a lot of calls, or what determines
Yeah,
the
we have
priority?
many cases. We receive complaints from residents all throughout the town of Hempstead.
Okay, because we have a lot of curbing issues.
This is for sidewalk complaints.
I'm saying the sidewalks and the curbing issues, we got cracks, things of that nature that can pose a problem for for residents who have to walk along there. So
Yes.
just want to make sure that we're communicating any type of resources available for residents, that they're getting the information, because most of them have no idea that there are these resources available. So I thank you for that. 32.
Is that sanitation, or Jerry, is that you? Uniforms? You got it. Thanks, Dom. Dominic's gonna. Dom, just identify yourself. Thank you.
Morning Supervisor, Deputy Supervisor, members of the town board. Number 32 is Dominic Longobardi, Deputy Town Controller. Number 32 is uniform cleaning for all of our uniforms for all of the people who work in the town.
Right.
We establish a contract for that every couple of years. Members who work for the town can have their uniforms cleaned instead of taking them home.
Okay. And this Right Way Happiness, is this a new business that we're doing?
Yes, it is a new business we're working with.
Okay. And that was from a competitive bid process?
Yes, it was. We had 4 bids in.
Okay. Just curious. See, I do pay attention to what I'm reading when I come here. I thank you so much for that. 100?
Ms. Meredith, I don't know if you're aware, but the Merrick Fire Department, we act as, I say we, the supervisor of the town board acts as the Board of Fire Commissioners. So we're responsible for the repairing of their firehouses. And in this instance, their HVAC system is in need of repair. It's lasted much longer than its expected life. So this is the consultant that's being paid by the town to make sure it's done properly.
Okay, so H2M Architects is like an on-call, because I see their name a lot.
They are one of the many, we have a number of them, but yes, they are one of the many that are on call that the town board has authorized to use.
Okay. And curiously, how many other fire districts are we responsible for?
Well, technically 18, but this is the only one that we're responsible for the actual buildings.
And why is that?
Because we act as fire commissioners. In the other districts, we pay them money to do their work.
Okay. All right. I always like to learn stuff. 105 and 106.
What, interesting that you asked that question. You asked about the sidewalks. Well, this is an instance where if you and in this specific case, because of the weather and freezing, the sidewalk was raised up. As a result, they sued the homeowner and they sued the town. We made a motion to have the case dismissed. Judge Maraca in Supreme Court denied our motion. They asked for $150,000. We settled it as well as the homeowner. In this case, the town's portion was $60,000.
Okay. Does this give us any more incentive to maybe do a better job as far as coordinating with homeowners with regard to the sidewalk? Just a thought.
What does it mean?
What does that even mean if we know that we can coordinate with our residents as opposed to possibly being sued to help them to fix their sidewalks? Particularly since we have a large older population, I think it would behoove us to try to do that. But, you know.
It's a fair comment, but Ms. Meredith, you have to remember the most important thing. The homeowner pays for the sidewalk.
I understand that.
And like you said, there's a lot of elderly people that quite frankly can't afford it. But I will tell you that the the highway department gets numerous calls about this. We're on top of them because the end result is that if it's not fixed, there is a chance that the town will be liable. So the town attorney's office is on top of it, and the highway department gets numerous phone calls every single week on this thing. You got to realize the town of Hempstead is the largest town in America, so there's a lot of sidewalks that have to be repaired. But it's an interesting point, and we'll endeavor with the sanitation commissioner to see if there's anything that can be done. I'm sorry, the highway commissioner, to see if anything can be done to increase people's knowledge of that.
I appreciate that. And I do want to commend all those highway, sanitation, public works, facilities, public safety. They do not get enough credit, and I want to make sure that they do get the credit that they are due. Also, the veteran services, I think they should be getting more resources, more space, but that just be an ongoing challenge that I will continue to fight as best I can. 106, please.
106 is the transfers and modifications of the town budget. It's identified clearly in the statement.
Yes, but what transfers, what amount? This
The-
one
the-
line
the-
sentence
the amount-
doesn't
the
help me
amount-
any.
amounts are provided there. If you'd like further information, you can send a request.
What amount is provided? Authorizing transfer and modification of various funds. And that's the only line that's in this agenda. Is there something else?
Tommy, if you go online and you look at it, Tommy.
Once again, if somebody could just provide that for me.
Morning,
Just,
everybody.
this repartee, maybe we can use this as a fundraiser that could help raise funds for our homeless veterans, but right now it's just really getting irritating to me. Yes, sir.
You have a question?
Yes,
I didn't
Commissioner.
understand what you just said.
Yes, Commissioner.
He's not the commissioner.
The information you're looking for, if you go online, you will see a copy of the resolution. It will list all of the budget transfers.
Okay, so there's no way I can get it from here. I see. Okay. Okay, and I will share with the town attorney from his earlier comment with regard to any issues or contract improprieties with the town of Hempstead. I will share with you the Newsday information regarding that. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else wish to hear the administrative calendar? No, you've already gone. Sorry, one time's a shot. All right, if not, may I please have a motion on the administrative calendar?
I move the administrative calendar in its entirety.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby. Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
Aye.
Okay, make a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Deputy Supervisor Gooseby. Councilwoman Miller.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryder.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
Aye.
Okay, now that the formal town board meeting is ended, the town board will remain to listen to the comments of residents. We'll start with Janine Kurtian. Yes. I'm not sure if you come to that back mic and give your name and address. Thank you.
Yes,
I reside at 750 Lido Boulevard at the townhouse at Lido, apartment 26B. I am here today, first off, say good afternoon to Supervisor Clavin, members of the board, and fellow residents. My name is Jeannie Cordian. I reside at 750 Lido Boulevard. My family has lived here since the construction of the townhouses in 1966. Our community located adjacent to the Sands and consists of 224 units. Over the years, we've invested heavily in our property, from significant roadway improvements to the construction of $1 million wall to protect against flooding and enhance the security. These investments reflect our commitment to maintaining the value and safety of our homes. We are here today to address a growing concern regarding the dilapidated bathroom and chlorine buildings left standing from the old pool and cabana areas. While we appreciate the town's investment in the new pool and the bathroom facilities, these decaying structures now stand in stark contrast to the improvements and pose a significant detriment to our community. May I come forth and show you the pictures?
Somebody will come back and take them from you. Thank you.
Thank you. I could pass them around. These photos taken recently illustrate the current state of disrepair. The visual decay is not only an eyesore, but also raises serious concerns about the presence of mold, mildew, potentially asbestos. The proximity of these hazardous structures directly impacts the 224 families residing in the townhouse, jeopardizing our health, safety, and property values. We understand that town projects require funding, but the continued neglect of these buildings represents a potential liability to the town and directly undermines the investments we as townhouse residents have made in our properties. Our condo assessments have risen considerably to cover necessary improvements, and the presence of these decaying structures negatively impacts the property values, negating our efforts. Therefore, we implore you to prioritize the safe and prompt removal of this derelict buildings. We request a concrete timeline for demolition and remediation, including a comprehensive plan for handling any hazardous materials like asbestos. This plan should prioritize the health and safety of the townhouse residents and address the impact of our property values. We, the residents of the townhouse, represent a substantial portion of this town, and we deserve to live in a safe and healthy environment
All right,
where our
thank you. If you'd like to follow up with an email on that, we'll take that into consideration. We appreciate you coming down and pointing that out. Next, I have Diane Madden. If you'd like to follow up with a communication and email, that'd be great. I know you had a little bit more to add, wanted to add there. There's a portion where we listen to the residents' concerns. That's what we do. So, like I said, if you want to follow up with an email, that'd be great. Thank you very much. All right. Okay. Like I said, if you'd like to follow up, we will. We'll have the Parks Commissioner. Thank you very much. Ms. Madden?
Diane Madden Hempstead. Shortly after a volunteer was advocating for Titan, who's doing remarkably well, he was banned from the animal shelter. And he since then has filed a $5 million lawsuit against the town and some of the employees. This is very familiar to me because that's basically what it took years ago to finally bring in experts, change operations, and bring in a new philosophy and a behavior department. I hope that the town throughout this lawsuit and litigation doesn't wait. The Madam Town Clerk is very familiar. She was very smart in the sense of implementing changes as that lawsuit continued. She didn't wait until the end. There were settlement discussions, and those programs and experts were hired and brought in, and programs such as TNR was started. It's kind of heart-wrenching that the town will spend money now to defend a lawsuit that, in my opinion, is indefensible. And they don't have money to offer to reputable rescues, such as the one that rescued Titan. That's something that the town looked at. I know the town attorney had talked about looking at finances concerning the animal shelter and the spending, and I think that is something that should be considered. There was also discussion about sending dogs to sanctuaries when in fact the animals get to the point of languishing for so long that that is the only option. And the problem with that is that there are very few reputable sanctuaries to send the animals to. So essentially what the shelter has done is set itself up as a sanctuary. I mean, no one has more money. You have people to walk the dogs. By the way, I don't believe that lawsuit. I'm not speaking for anyone, but I don't think it's about money, whether it's 5 million, 10 million. I don't think anyone that walks dogs for a number of years free of charge for hundreds of miles really is interested in money, but improvements at the animal shelter. I encourage you to this time bring in oversight for the animal shelter or outsource as you tried before and considered to change those operations. You can fix the shelter, you can make it state of the art, but until you have leadership that's not, that is unbiased, that's not retaliatory, and that treats everyone, including the animals, the same and offers them the same opportunities for rescue, training, adoption, it's not going to improve the shelter. The problem with the shelter, the rusty cage are the minimal issues. The problem is how it's being run. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Madden. Have a nice day. Next, Ms. Meriday. Name and address. Thank you.
It's Mita J. Meriday, not Merida. And that's the way I hear it.
No one said that.
That's the way I hear it.
No one
People are
said that
saying
at
they
all.
don't
So
hear me, that's the way I hear it. So I like to hear Meriday. It's my name. I'm proud of it. I like to hear it. And for those that have made references when I'm speaking very clear in a mask that they have to wear because of the toxic HVAC and or carpeting is building, and my COPD, I will continue to wear a mask because I know we have mask bills around here, but I am not looking to do anything out of the law with regard to protecting my health, which was jeopardized the last time I was in here and did not wear my mask. So I stand here today with regard to asking again, as far as the request that was submitted now months ago, for a very worthwhile scenario to have the community room, which is the only space, since for some reason we cannot use the downstairs space that we pay to have redone at Kosnick Park, to have that first floor community room renamed in Jackie Bell's honor. I don't know how many ways, and as the previous resident said, when they're told so disrespectfully to submit an email and someone will get back to you, and they don't get a response. So I know you don't answer back only to me, Supervisor, when you're actually paying attention to anybody up here. But I don't see what the problem is when you rename locations that already are named for somebody, but we can't get a community room in Kosnick Park at a facility that this now deceased community advocate worked so hard to maintain. And earlier, I was remiss in not giving a shout out to code enforcement and buildings, who they do show up and they also do the work, and I recognize them for that. Baldwin would still like to see the now two representatives that were elected to represent, and by a map that most of us did not agree with, to have dual representation in our 2.5-mile hamlet. We don't see them at our meetings. We don't see them at our events. Having the representatives from the various departments, that's all well and good, but they were not elected. So we need to see those individuals or their designee at our functions to actually hear their concerns, because many of them can't come to these meetings. I worked various times, and usually I'm on call myself. Right now, dealing with a 102-year-old Purple Heart veteran in Ohio who's about to be put out of his medical facility. So forgive me if I don't have time to go online to get information that should be readily available for me. But we'd like to know when we can have a naming ceremony for Jackie Bell at Kosnick Park.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Meriday. Next, I have Jackie Norman. Please come up to the mic and give your name and address. Thank you so much.
And I'm glad it's the Brooklyn Dodgers that you're representing here.
How you doing?
Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
Supervisor Don Clavin, to Deputy Supervisor Dorothy Gooseby, and to the board, and to everyone present. My name is Jackie R. Norman. Today is Tuesday the 13th, not Friday the 13th. My mother knew I was doomed for greatness that folks could not even speak about. I was named after a great man named Jackie Roosevelt Robinson, who is buried in Cypress Hill Cemetery in Brooklyn. First, I was born in the great state. First, I was born in the great state of North Carolina on Thanksgiving Day, November the 25th, 1948. Raised in Norfolk, Virginia, until 1960, where I moved to New York. Let me find my place. May I add also, I was not the son of a sharecropper, though my father is 96 years old, who lives in Chesapeake, Virginia. I went to middle school in Queens, Forest Hills High School, and had raised 3 kids in Uniondale. 2 of them went to Uniondale High School and graduated, and now I'm raising 2 grandkids that graduated from Uniondale High School. I was a member of Mount Sinai Baptist Church for 40 years under Reverend Arthur L. Mackey, Sr. and Jr. Let's see. I worked at Booth Memorial Hospital in 1968, where I started in the laundry, worked my way up to supervisor, central processing, and then manager, and then finally to director of central processing, administrator, director at central processing at New York Hospital in Queens, where I began to teach infection control for all metropolitan hospitals in the country, in the metropolitan area. I received students.
Mr. Norman, we do have a 3-minute time limit, but let me first off say thank you very much for your service. And I did notice that you're an avid sign reader as well. I did notice that from the
I got
crowd.
one other question. I know my time is up.
What I'll say is if you stick around for a little bit, we'll be delighted to take a little time and talk to you after the meeting. If you stick around a little bit, okay?
My history, I had a question about taxes.
You got it, Mr. Norman. I'll be delighted to have one of them give you a helping hand here on this subject. But thank you again for coming down here today. Is there anybody else wishes we heard that did not sign in? If not, oh, yes, sir, if you give your name. Oh, Mr. Norman? Yes. Thank you very much. All right. If not, then I would tell everybody to have a wonderful day. Thank you very much. And Carol and Christine, if you can help Mr. Norman, that would be amazing. Thank you very much.